great God we serve. Can you say amen? Amen. And he's got us on his heart, on his mind. In fact, the scripture says that we were engraven into the palm of his hands. Can you even wrap your head around the fact that God can open up his hands? You know, I know back in the day when we were in school, that's the way we used to try to cheat. As if the other teachers had never seen that before. You know, you would write a note, you'd write something, answer to a question on the bottom of your hand. And as if the teachers had never seen anything like that happen before. You're the first one that's come up with that idea, and how you would try to open up your hand and she didn't want you to see it. Not that I did that. Mm-hmm. Not that I ever did any of that. But can you imagine that the Lord thinks so much of us that he would have us engraven in the palm of his hand, that close to it. All he's got to do is open his hand up. Now, I can't explain that theologically. All I know is what the scripture says, and I believe it by faith. He's got us there in his hand. And he sent those angels to speak to those lonely and almost homeless shepherds. And he speaks to those in prison this year. He speaks to those who are rejected. He speaks to those who are heartbroken. Everybody that's ever thought themselves a failure. All the losers in life that think they're a loser. In the eyes of God, maybe they're not, but they think themselves as that way. And the good news is John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth, verse 18, he that believeth on him is not condemned. But he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. You know, some of those shepherds maybe felt like that they were, maybe not necessarily condemned from society, but sort of like outcasts from society. But God, by sending the angel, was telling them that he is not condemning them, because this is the lot in life that has found them. Some of them shepherds were probably setting up on those hillsides and probably saying, this is not what I chose in life. I really wanted to be maybe something else. But how did I get here? How did I get up here on top of this hill? How did I get here in this valley? How did I get here living with a bunch of sheep when I need a family? I wanted a family. And things just didn't work out between me and maybe this girl, and things just didn't work out. And you're sitting there, broken and lonely from some of those things. And just think about that those angels just swept throughout the land. And wherever they would find those shepherds, he would speak to them. Hallelujah. It just tells me that in the eyes of God, maybe not in the eyes of man, but in the eyes of God, I'm very, very, very important. And so are you this morning. So God has a wonderful plan laid out for us, laid out in life. And yet, even though sometimes we're determined to go our own way, God still has a plan laid out for us. And He's not forgotten about us. And He's still working on to us. And He went to the shepherds, I think also because Jesus himself God looked at Jesus as going to be the shepherd, going to raise up to be a shepherd of the sheep, because he says in later on in John chapter 10 and verse 11, Jesus said, I am the good shepherd, and the good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And every shepherd knew that. When Jesus said that, the shepherds were the ones that really related to that, probably more than anybody else, because they would lay down their life for their sheep. That's an amazing that a person would lay down their life for an animal. We hear of animals that try to rescue humans or try to pull people, from the eyes. We hear all these stories, especially about these dogs that do some of these things. But for a person to lay down their life for an animal, that's unheard of. And the scripture says a good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. A hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will leave the sheep because they aren't his, and he isn't their shepherd. And so the wolf attacks him and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he is merely hired and has no real concern for the sheep. Verse 14 says, Jesus says, I am the good shepherd.